The all-new Tapo C530 is here, and we have the 500 next to it, the old legend. We're going to do a comparison video and see which one works best and which is the best choice. The C500, of course, launched a few years back. It's got 1080p, full high definition, 360-degree tracking, smart person detection. It's IP55 water resistant, night vision, infrared, and micro SD card. Whereas the 530 is new, brand new, IP66 this time, and it's also got smart detection, but that starlight color vision sensor is what's going to make a difference, and 5 megapixels. So yeah, quite a big upgrade.
So finally, together, we have the C530WS and we have the C500, the old legend, and both have pretty much similar size, and I think even the outer shells are actually the same.
Let's have a closer look at the specs here in this spec sheet. So 2 megapixels for the C500, 5 for the C530. It's got an infrared monochrome sensor for night vision, but this has got a starlight, full color, better low light performance sensor. IP65 versus IP66. AI motion detection is there for both, but I think it's a little more advanced on the 530. And you also have similar movements and light and sound and calling. All the features are pretty much similar, but you also have 2 external antennas on the C530WS, which makes it better for longer distances.
Just the hardware inside has changed, and you can see that the few extra LEDs over here, which you don't have over here. You just have the infrared LEDs, and this one has 2 separate warm white LEDs that light up the subject whenever you ask it to. The other major difference between the C530WS is basically your SD card slot doesn't have screws to fasten it, so anyone actually can just open this flap and pull out your memory card. Whereas in the C500, the older model, if you actually check out the SD card slot, you have proper screws in place, so it's a little more harder to kind of get out the SD card. So that's one of the major differences. Of course, this is just a 2 megapixel camera as compared to a 5 megapixel camera. So you can see that the lights actually come on automatically because I probably put it down. So this is a 5 megapixel camera. It doesn't have the antennas as you have it on the W530. So this one has no antennas. There's no Ethernet port, whereas this one, the WS, has an Ethernet port. So that's probably the major differences. But to be honest, the same adapter can be used on both of these cameras together. So that should be fine. So let's do a picture quality test and see how well they perform, both in light, well-lit conditions, as well as we'll also do a test in the night. Got both cameras outside, and I'm just trying to get a perspective of what the clarity is going to be like. So we have the C530WS on this side, and you also have the 500 over here.
So right out of the bat, you can see that the pictures taken on the C500, that's quite a good camera at that point in time, because these both are actually meant for external use, so they can survive weather conditions, and you can see the pictures are pretty decent. It looks a little warm in color in terms of the tones, and here's the video. I just want to show you how it looks when you actually do a pan around with this, and it's a little laggy because the internet connection isn't really reaching this device easily. That's because it doesn't have external antennas. But either ways, there is pan. It's not as smooth as I expected, but the image quality is okay for a camera which is 2 megapixel and is about 2.5-3 years old. So this is just the first view I want to give you with the C500, and we'll just switch over to the C530WS, which should perform a lot better. And here again, the lag is natural. I think these are cameras which work like this. So this is the 530, of course, and you'll see a drastic improvement in the condition. Now both were shot around the same time. It's about 3 in the afternoon, so there's ample amount of sunlight, and I'm just panning around with the C530WS right now, and it's actually doing a pretty decent job, and the colors on the trees look much better. Of course, the sky is also little blue tinges actually visible on this one, but not on the 500. So that's a big difference. Even the colors are really popping out on the C530WS. At night, of course, the 500 also has night vision, and it does a decent job in terms of its infrared. This is with the infrared LEDs on, and you can see it's a rainy night. There was a lot of lightning, but I still managed to kind of get some images out of it with the LEDs on, and it's doing a pretty decent job. So this is an empty terrace, and you can see the same tree which you saw in the morning, and there's absolutely no color because it's using infrared. And what I'm also going to do here right now is show you the capability of this 500 camera without switching on the infrared LEDs. So now this is night vision on the C500. So again, you'll see that it's still a good performer. So the night sensor is not starlight, but you can still see that the colors are slightly visible. It's not as bad as we expected. Now, although this looks like evening time, this was shot way later than, around 8 p.m. in the night. So there's no sunlight at all. These are just street lights and some building lights around. And I'm just trying to show you how the camera is performing. The images are not really clear, but you can still see movements and you can easily detect a person. So there I was just trying to meddle with it. So you can see me standing over there and it works decently. Of course, no detail on the trees whatsoever. Switching over to the C530WS, there's a drastic difference. Now this is working with, I started off without the infrared LEDs, but then I switched on the infrared LEDs just to see how good it is. But I realized you don't actually need infrared at all on this camera because the sensor can actually work in complete darkness. And the image quality was a tad better than the C500. So you can see that it's performing much better. The images are much sharper. Of course, there's no detail in darker areas like the trees, and those things are really not going to be very different from the C500. But you can see that the quality of the sky and the same lightning, it's all the same. And here I've taken a side by side. So you have 500 versus the 530 around 5 p.m. in the evening, and the image qualities kind of give you a sense of the sharpness around that building, for example. Let's also switch on to some trees over here. So you can see there's a tree over here and there's a drastic difference in the quality of the tree leaves as well. The coconut tree here on the right has much more better sharpness. The sky is pretty much similar, I felt, but yeah, there's a little bit of distinguishing between the sunlight over there. It's a little more spread out on the C500. So that's another big difference. So you do get good image quality both in the day as well as the night. So yeah, the C530 is a much bigger upgrade. I think it's really worth the price you pay for. If you want to get better images in the night, you should definitely opt for this. Here's another image of the C530WS in the night. And it's performing flawlessly, so there's no issues at all. So I've taken another picture here just to show you how the C500 looks for a still image. The same image here is with the C530WS. Notice the color difference? So let me show you the same thing. I'm wiping the C500 image with the C530. Let's do another example. C500, now you're seeing the same image with the C530. How good is that? So I hope you got a good idea of how different these cameras are. The prices are pretty close to each other, but the camera performance differs a lot. So that's my review of the 530 versus 500. Let me know if you like the video. Please hit the like button and subscribe, and you can see more such videos coming up. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.